Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you. Yes, we do want to talk to you, and we want to hear from you as well. I'm Naima Latif, and you're watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. And on this 5th Saturday of the month, we go live on location so that we can bring you information from all over the world. And one of the wonderful things about having an opportunity to talk to people where they are is that we get a real sense of what the community is experiencing. Well, today we want to share with you the powerful story of one particular elected official here in Chicago, Alderman David Moore, who has taken upon himself to end a scourge of drug trafficking in the very much plagued Englewood community. This is not an easy task because people take drugs because they want to take drugs. And it's not just one particular group of people. These are people who enjoy the sensation of escape. Now, what makes people choose to escape? Well, sometimes it's the difficulty of life, the stress of life, the hopelessness of life. And sometimes it's just the boredom of life. But in either case, this is something that happens that disrupts community life in such a terrible fashion that Alderman David Moore made a decision that if it doesn't stop, he's going to stand outside and camp outside on a particular block where the drug trafficking is most severe until something happens, until somebody in authority, whether it be the mayor's office or the police department or the Cook County Sheriff's Office, somebody's got to bring him a game plan that's going to end this ravishing, growing, and escalating drug trafficking that makes it difficult for families to feel safe and makes children stay inside too afraid to come out and play. Well, we're going to come back and bring to you some words of those who are supporting Chicago's 17th Ward Alderman David Moore, and some people who believe that if we just paid attention to those who are hurting, perhaps they wouldn't turn to drugs. We'll be right back after this brief message. So we invite you to stick and stay, don't stray away. And we'll be back with more from Alderman David Moore. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms. And we're back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif. And on this Saturday, we're going to take you on location on the 17th Ward, where Alderman David Moore is taking a stand, or maybe you might say he's taking a sit. He is camping out in his tent in the 1200 block of West 73rd Place, where drug trafficking has reached epidemic proportions. One of the things that makes this such a difficult situation is that cars are being prevented from even driving through the street because the trafficking is so heavy. And there are many people coming from all over to buy. Now, We know that certain drugs have become legal, but there are those that are still illegal. And even if they were legal, the sale has become so disruptive and destructive as to be a detriment to the community. There was a shooting in the area, and illegal drug trafficking tends to attract the elements of people who become violent in the course of doing business. It happens. And when it happens in our communities where our children play, our children can no longer feel safe. Our elders can no longer feel safe. So, we're going to bring you some words from those who are choosing to take a stand and encourage the work of Alderman David Moore. And we want you to give us a call, 515-605-9325, or you can reach us on our on-air radio network at 727-731-5192. Because we want to hear from you, and we want you to give us your thoughts as we go live in the 17th Ward.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif with On Air Daily News, and we are here in the 1200. Hi, I'm Naima Latif with On Air Daily News, and we are here in the 1200 block of West 73rd Place, where 17th Ward Alderman David Moore has pledged to camp out here and stay here until police can come up with a game plan to stop the violence, the drug trafficking, and the insecurity that comes with living in a high crime area like Englewood. He has made a decision to weather the storm, the heat, the weather, and whatever comes out here. And you can see his tent where he has been camping out for the last several days. There was a shooting on Saturday right in this area, and he is pledging to stay here and keep residents feeling safe. A number of the residents here have said they feel safer with his presence, and children have dared to come out and play while he's here. But the question is, can we maintain neighborhood safety? And what is the plan to get rid of the problem that continues to plague this community? It's more than just making a lot of arrests. It has to do with stopping the very foundation of the crime and violence, which is the hopelessness. Where's the economic development plan? Where is the community development plan? Where's the public safety plan? Where is the restoration of a sense of peace and unity among members of the community? How do we create that? And who's responsible for coming up with the plan? Well, the leader of the 17th Ward, Alderman David Moore, says he's going to stay here until all the entities involved come together with a plan of action to rebuild this Englewood community. I'm Naima Latif with On Air Daily News, and we'll be back with words from Alderman David Moore, 17th Ward leader and visionary and activist in the cause of rebuilding our community.
One of the things that makes this difficult is the fact that there are so many people involved in the drug business, whether they're selling or buying. So to simply criminalize those who have a drug habit or just a drug desire every now and then would be hypocritical. This is a business that's widely supported. It spreads because people have a desire to escape their reality. If we simply stereotype the average drug user as lower income or uneducated, we're not being realistic. because it takes money to use drugs on a regular basis. And the people who buy from those who sell are people who have jobs and careers. They have titles, they have authority, they have homes, they have cars, they have businesses, they have a cash flow. What we're talking about is a state of mind, a state of the spirit, where people feel that they can't cope without an escape. And these are people who are functional drug users. So to simply criminalize those who are sellers is disingenuous if we don't look at the reason why people are buying. And we don't address the fact that substances that have the same effect of taking people away from reality are sold legally. Liquor stores are all over communities, especially where people are depressed and hopeless. The desire to escape is something that we see among the upper echelon of society. Just because they pay more for their drinks don't mean they don't intend to get just as drunk. So to criminalize behavior that indicates a person has difficulty dealing with reality with a clear and sober mind because it's either too painful, too boring, or whatever the case may be, they alter their body chemistry in order to be able to receive more joy in life. And those who are selling them the substances they have chosen to use cannot be criminalized if we don't criminalize everybody. What we need to do is give people the experience of joy while being sober. Give people a sense of value of life while they have a clear head and a sharp mind. Give them the experience of being able to be at peace without a foreign substance going through their veins. Can we do that? And do we understand that that's where the need really is? Well, there are those in the religious community that see it as a spiritual mission to somehow help people get away from dependency on drug use. So let's go to a member of the 17th Ward community that is also a member of the clergy and one who is in the trenches, so to speak, addressing this condition and seeking to present a solution.
Here with Pastor Dionel Hill, and he's with the New Life Resurrection Church. Pastor Hill, tell us what brought you out here with Alderman David Moore, who's camping out here to call attention to the crime and drug trafficking in the Englewood community. What brought you out here?
A spiritual calling. You know, first of all, definitely God called. Just as sure as God had called him to implement this vision that he had, you know, he called me to, as being who I am, to care. I've had a relationship with Alderman Moore for some years now. I've been watching him. He's been supportive of me. I've been supportive as much as I can in things that he has inquired. And so when I seen him make this move, he showed more action by faith in the work that he's doing. You know, he made a move that every alderman. This ain't happened since Mayor Burns or Barnes.
Yeah, Mayor Burns moved into I think it was Cabrini Green to stop the violence. So has the violence in this area kind of calmed down since
Alderman Moore has been out here camping out?
I would say that it's he feels safer. I'm pretty sure that this block feels safer. We did have an incident. I wasn't out here, but I guess a couple of nights ago, everybody seen it go viral where the alderman was doing what he do out here, and gunshots erupted. You know, so that's not to say that it's worse. No, it is more safer. And we from the response that we hear from the residents and even some of the young men that's in the streets out here, that it's rattling some cages, you know, but not in the danger of the alderman or us. We're protected. You got the Chicago finest out here, and you know, it's just we all about peace out here, all about trying to make it right. So yeah, I think that it's safe out here.
Yes. Well, we're here in the 1200 block of West 73rd Place, where it has been known to be a high drug trafficking area. What do you think are some of the reasons why residents here are so susceptible to the drug trafficking? Is there a sense of hopelessness here? Are people going through economic distress? What do you think is the underlying cause?
Well, it's about it's about relationships, honestly. You know, just because we are saying we need to build relationships with the community, that's one of the reasons. That's an underlying cause. By us not having a relationship with this community, we can't even really say what goes on except what we know of, drug infested, you know. So not having a relationship with the community, the community itself and the residents being afraid of what's going on. They actually don't have to be afraid of what's going on out here, but it's the way that we approach. So not having the right approach, the lack of unity in the community, and of course all of the things that we dealt with the from the 80s when the drugs became the epidemic, the war on poverty. All these things are underlines of what we are faced with today, and really it's come to a point where something has to be done by action and not talking. That's another reason a lot of people talk too much and there's not enough action. That's another underlying cause of what's going on. You know, we had the opportunity to speak with some of the young men around here who may have issues with us being here, but at the same time, because of the dialogue, we was able to get an understanding with them. You know what I'm saying? So now we got a uphill battle. You know what I'm saying? We're able to progress because now there's dialogue. You know, but we know we'll be all day to see the reason of over the past 20 or 30 years how we get to this point. And we're still around. I've been around 39 years. You know what I'm saying? We're still around. So those ones that understands, I say this, especially behind this. It's one thing to understand. It's another thing to have an answer to it. If you really don't understand, then there's no answer. If you're not willing to pick up an understanding and get to know, there's never going to be an answer. So that's what we out here. We out here to get an understanding from the community, get an understanding from the young men in the community, get an understanding from everybody. Look at all the organizations, Safe Havens, New Life Resurrection, the alderman's wearing I Am My Brother's Keeper. We got Chicago police out here. We got city workers out here, all type of people. Look at the community. It don't have to be a church, you know what I'm saying? Look at the community. This is holy ground right now where we stand.
All right.
So
standing on holy ground here on 73rd Place. Well, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this movement, Pastor Dianelle Hill.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're looking forward to hearing the alderman. We're going to talk to the alderman.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's his little tent back there that he's been camping out to show that he's going to stay here and keep this community safe. And we're going to get a game plan on how to stop the crime, the violence, and the drug trafficking.
Yeah, support Chicago. Don't be excited by what they show us as being a Chirac. We're not a Chirac. Support the city of Chicago. Support the Windy City. Support where all the greatness come from. Support us, that we could get back to the narrative of who we really are.
Yes. Thank you so much. And that was one of the activists, members of the clergy there in the 17th Ward. And this is a young man who believes in what's happening with Alderman David Moore, his quest to take his case to the streets. And as he mentioned, it hasn't been since Mayor Jane Byrne moved into the Cabrini Green housing project that we've seen an elected official go to the area where there's trouble and literally move in, camp out, stay there until the problem is solved. The problem, of course, is once the elected official leaves, the problem tends to come back. So what we're really looking at is a commitment to change the conditions that caused the problem in the first place. What are the real reasons why people take drugs? So there are several things to look at. We have a drug culture. And again, it's disingenuous for us to condemn those who are taking drugs that have been named illegal. Meanwhile, we're pushing drugs as a means for people to escape their reality, even though these are prescription drugs. Now, I understand physical pain, things such as maybe a surgery, a tooth extraction, all kinds of things, a headache, all kinds of things that can cause us physical pain. And perhaps we need to take some painkillers. But if we have a medical profession, if we have a whole industry that does not seek to discover and alleviate the cause of pain, but merely to keep people addicted to the painkillers for the sake of making a profit off of their pain, then what is it that the people on the street are doing that's any different? We have to first have a commitment to removing the source of pain. And then once people are able to manage their lives, once people are able to restore their sense of hope, their sense of self-esteem, self-worth, all of these things that have perhaps been destroyed, the reason why they're turning to drugs to help them cope with their sense of lack of worth. If we can get to the root of that, then we can remove the reason for them taking the drugs in the first place. And that includes prescription drugs as well as illegal drugs. Because the only reason why certain drugs have been deemed illegal is because businesses, recognized businesses, have not openly taken control of the sales and the profit making from them. We have seen in our time the legalization of marijuana from the cannabis plant. Now, this was a substance that made people feel better, alleviated certain pain, alleviated pressure from people who had cataracts and all kinds of things that, when used for the purpose of correcting a problem or removing pain, it wasn't something that was harmful. And the plant that made it possible for people to feel better was widely sold and created such a very profitable cash flow. Somehow, lawmakers were able to pass laws that made it legal to sell. But the business is one that is restricted to those who are able to buy certain licenses. So once again, we're being disingenuous. Do we really want people to be able to function without an outside substance? Are we really trying to help people balance their body chemistry in such a way that they are not seeking to alleviate distress? Or do we just want to make money off of their pain? And if so, how can we attack those who are selling that which they desire to use? There's a deeper issue here, but we're going to talk about that when we come back. And if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, we want you to give us a call, 515-605-9325, or you can call us on our on-air radio network at 727-731-5192, because we want to hear from you. We'll be right back after this quick break, so stay with us.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, childcare services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
And we want you, if you are in business, to be able to sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money. So just go to thefemalesolution.com and get that link, and you can definitely begin the process of seeing your cash flow while you relax at home. So we want to bring you more from those who are supporting Alderman David Moore as he fights drug crime with a Campout on the streets. What do you think about that? Do you think that being in the midst of those who are engaging in what we have determined is illegal activities will make them stop? Do you think that the police will come up with a plan besides simply arresting everybody that they say looks suspicious as they drive down the street? Sometimes that particular method can be very destructive, because people driving through a neighborhood with a nice car, if they're stopped and searched and suspected of drug trafficking and they're just minding their own business, then that becomes an oppressive community for people who drive a decent car to drive through. And I've got friends who will not drive through the Englewood community for that reason. So simply arresting people under suspicion of drug trafficking when there's really nothing to identify them other than maybe they're driving a nice car through a low-income community. That's not it. And yet, how do you stop the rampant drug sales that make it unsafe? Because in this illegal drug business, when there are money issues, people don't get their lawyer and go to court. They get their gun and blow you away. And so sometimes people end up dead or severely injured, or the person who wasn't the target ends up shot to death or severely injured. So this isn't a business that one can bring one's children up in and teach them to trade, even though that's what happens. And when it happens, whole communities feel like they're held hostage. Sometimes what's really needed is to create better opportunities. And how do we do that? Well, let's talk to someone who also was inspired by the work of Alderman David Moore and is choosing to lend his voice to encourage those in leadership to come up with a plan of action.
Now we are here with Mark G. Mulrow, who is president and manager of a safe haven out here in the 17th Ward with 17th Ward Alderman David Moore. So tell us, what brought you out here today?
So I was driving into work and I heard about what was going on, and rather than going into the office for meetings, I thought it was more important that I come out here, support the alderman and his team and what they're doing in trying to make a change, make a difference in an area, to bring back life into a community, to bring back safety into a community, and I just felt compelled to come. And I started out with the idea of thinking I was doing something, and I ended up coming here and met a gentleman who went through one of our programs and is being very successful. Now he's given back to his community, so I kind of feel blessed today. It was a good day. I got a gift today that I didn't expect, but I think it's important that as a community, as Chicagoans, that we support each other in work like this, that there is a voice out there, so neighborhoods know that they're not forgotten, that they have people who care about them from all over the city who want to come out and make a difference. So I thought I should put my body where my thoughts were, and so that's why I'm here.
That's a good one. So tell us about a safe haven. What do you do?
So Safe Haven is a facility that we assist people who are experiencing homelessness through workforce, job training, affordable housing, everything from shelter to permanent supportive housing. We have programs for substance use treatment, behavioral health care, education, life skills. What we do is we try to, individuals who are in crisis, we try to assist them restore their hope and their opportunity through housing, healthcare, workforce, and education. So it's just to help people reestablish themselves, reinvent themselves, find themselves, and to get back on their path. So that's what a Safe Haven's role is, and that's what our mission is.
Well, we thank you so much for taking a stand with Alderman David Moore, and we hope to see the spread of a safe haven.
Definitely. Thank you.
And we certainly are grateful for those who have programs that make a difference. There are many people who care, and there are many people who have made a point to get involved. And there are people who do more than just condemn. They truly do care. And they truly are willing to invest time and energy and efforts into a solution. What is the solution? We've been talking about the problem of drug trafficking for quite a long time. And yet, despite the commitment that many have made to work with those who are in trouble, those who have a past, those who may have difficulty finding employment, the drug business continues to flourish, particularly in distressed communities. And it's not to say that high-income communities don't have drug problems. They don't have disruptive drug problems where on the streets people are so engaged in selling drugs that children can't come out and play. They don't have such a disruptive drug trafficking where we have people engaging in gun battles on the streets, making it unsafe for seniors to walk down the street and catch a bus, or come out of their house and catch their transportation, or simply sit on their porch and enjoy the weather. This is not a good situation to raise our families. But we have to do more than blame people who take drugs and blame people who sell drugs. Because people who sell drugs are in business to make money, just like those who have a license to sell. Is the real issue those who sell, or is the issue people who buy? And what makes them choose to buy? Is it a hopelessness? Well, let's talk to one who's been through that program that we just heard about and has turned his life around and now wishes to encourage the work of Alderman Moore.
My name is Tawan Sims. I'm from Rogers Park, and what brought me here was the Alderman David Moore's stance, his initiative to abet what's been going on in this community here at 73rd Place. How I found out about it was I read it in the newspaper, and immediately what came to mind is that I need to be behind this. How I met the alderman was in the committee meetings. I've been going down there speaking about a discourse that's taking place in my life on a daily basis. But just in the time that I've been in his presence, to know that this alderman here, David Moore, has taken this stance is amazing. His demeanor, his character and whatnot does not say that this is a fighting individual. He's not a very big man. He's not an imposing figure. However, when you hear him speak in the committee about what's going on in his ward and how it's being disenfranchised and not invested in, but he's speaking with power, he's speaking for the people, for his constituents. And just to have him come out like this and take this initiative and he's in the tent, pitched the tent here in the neighborhood. He's spoken with even the players that are involved in what's going on, giving them an option, letting them know that this isn't a discourse against you all, but that this is an effort for the community. And so in that, it's just amazing just to have that type of representation as a constituent. Now, they say, oh, well, you're not one. Yes, I am. Because this is our elected. These are the people we elected. We elected 50 alderpersons in Chicago to take care of our circumstances and situations when need be. And if we don't have representation like Alderman Moore, then I'm afraid that it's going to continue what's going on. It's going to continue, and it won't become better. It's only going to be worse, and what we'll be doing is lending our votes without getting any effort. We'll be lending our votes, but not being appreciated or taken care of. So I just appreciate the alderman. I appreciate his effort. I appreciate the fact that he has taken the initiative and showed the courage to come out and stand in for his constituents and for the residents of this community. So I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you so much for standing with him.
And that's one of the residents that can see the good that's being done. This is not just a situation in the 17th Ward. There are many hot spots throughout the city of Chicago. And as a previous speaker said, this is not Chirac. We don't need to keep reinforcing the idea that Chicago is a gangster city that's dangerous. We have the upcoming Democratic National Convention coming here to the city, and people have asked the questions: how safe is it? Is it a place where we can have such a gathering and not worry about getting shot? Well, you know, the reality is you can get shot anywhere. It doesn't have to be a neighborhood where people are low income or even involved in drug trafficking. We've had people get shot in schools, in movie theaters, in churches. So the gun violence issue isn't necessarily directly connected to drug trafficking. It's just that this particular kind of drug trafficking attracts those who settle their financial differences with gun violence. Often the conflict is over who has the right to sell in a certain neighborhood. Conflict is over whether or not one has properly paid the drug supplier the money owed for the sales. All kinds of conflicts come about in this business, in the way it's conducted on the streets. And people who are involved remain involved because the return on one's investment is so high. The amount of money one can make on a certain city block, you might be able to make $1,000 in an hour. So can you take an $18 an hour job and turn it into $1,000 an hour? Well, no. So the financial benefits are very attractive, especially to people who don't see other ways of earning a living. What do you think about that? If there is a business that allows people to make a lot of money in a short period of time, what would make them stop? Especially if they've developed various ways of avoiding detection by law enforcement. You have lookout people, usually children, who will alert a drug seller if police are coming, and they even get paid. You have people who are the enforcers, making sure that if one has made sales, one hands over the money to whom it is owed. And if not, they pay a heavy penalty, either extreme pain inflicted or even death inflicted. But all of this doesn't remove the desire to make the money that can be made from the sale of drugs that have been determined to be illegal. Now, those who are selling marijuana, cannabis, those that are selling this particular plant with a license, are they seeing the same return on their investment that those who were selling it on the streets when it was illegal received? There are many people who have entered the cannabis selling business who say it's a very lucrative business. And there are those who are purchasing it legally. And they purchase it on a regular basis, just as those who purchased it illegally on the street on a regular basis. So if people have a need to alter their brain activity by introducing a substance that removes stress and produces calmness, and they are in a perpetual state of stress, and they find that this method works, what is to make them stop? If living with the stress is not a desirable alternative to taking drugs, then very little will make them stop. So if we're going to really address the issue of drug trafficking, we have to do more than just arrest the seller. We have to do more than just arrest the buyer. Because the real problem is the inability to handle stress, the inability to manage one's anxiety, the inability to naturally induce the flow of endorphins that make it possible for one to feel relaxed. Now, there are ways of doing this. There are all kinds of techniques of meditation and yoga and breathing exercises and all kinds of methods that help the body induce the flow of endorphins, which is what people are seeking when they take drugs. Why don't we know how to do this? Why aren't these methods taught? Why aren't we given access to information that would help us manage our bodies that have been designed to self-repair and to regulate moods if we simply knew the techniques? Why are we taking drugs for pain and we don't know how to release endorphins in our bloodstream that would alleviate pain naturally? There are many wise among us, the yogis, the monks, the people who regularly practice mind control techniques that keep them calm and keep their bodies regulated in a state of optimum health so they are not seeking pain relief from outside substances. Would it be beneficial if we allowed these techniques to be taught on a regular basis? Now, of course, they are available to be taught. They're visible in plain sight and yet hidden to those that don't know what to look for. You can go online, you can Google meditation, you can Google healing, you can Google all kinds of things and discover how to induce the right hormones into your blood system so that you don't need an outside substance to relax you. You can do this. But usually people who take drugs have been conditioned to believe that drug taking is a necessity for solving their problems. They've been conditioned by society's advertisements. They've been conditioned even by their religious beliefs. Because as much as people who are religious talk about the power of prayer, most of the time they believe that they are unworthy of the force that they believe is outside of them to come and help them. So they pray and then they go and get the drugs to relieve the pain and suffering, all of which is self-induced. This is what can change this epidemic of drug use. Knowledge of what is already within us. The power to heal our bodies is already within us. Are we allowing these things to be taught? Or are we dismissing them in favor of enriching a pharmaceutical industry? And then are we criminalizing those who are using the same tactics of acquiring repeat business, even though they're selling their drugs on the street and the government has deemed the drugs they are selling as illegal? And yet, there are farmers that own fields in countries all across the water that are selling the plants that are used to make the drugs, and they are reaping profits from the misery of those who feel like they need some help from an outside substance. Now, many of these drugs are made from plants that have been known to be relaxing substances. And they have been part of the culture of many people for thousands and thousands of years. But with a little processing, their intoxicating effects are enhanced. We know that opium has been around for thousands of years. Cannabis, thousands of years. Plants that have had the effect of relaxing the mind, soothing the body, have been around for thousands of years. But the addictive impact of the drugs we use have given the opportunity of those who don't desire our healing to make money off of our suffering. Are we willing to add the element of wisdom to our game plan to stop the drug trafficking? The wisdom to help people alleviate their emotional pain, which leads them to seek help from drugs. And the wisdom to help people learn how to alleviate their physical pain, which often is an expression of the body's breakdown after emotionally induced pain. We're mind, body, and spirit. So, how do we integrate this whole system and learn how to make it work so that we exist in a state of inner peace? Once we have inner peace, we don't have a desire to use drugs at all, of any kind. We could do this if we choose. So we certainly want to hear from you. We're going to take a call before we take a break and bring on Alderman David Moore. So let me open the mic for my sister Viata from Florida, host of our Friday show, Health and Well-Being, and our Sunday show, Soul Purpose Healing. So what are your thoughts? You've been, beating the drums, telling us we need to get away from this drug business for a long time and change our mind. Do you think it's possible to help people do that?
Let me say first thing, you just raised some really great questions. I was listening to all the questions that were so thought-provoking, and I thought each one of us has to answer those questions for ourselves, for our family, and for our community, and then decide, okay, what can I do to change or to bring the solution to the questions? I just want to just say thank you for those great questions. And then I couldn't help but think about the young lady from Chicago recently who went to the Bahamas, I think, and now they can't find her. And she was a yogi. She was seeking, her passion, a retreat or something. And now, I don't know what's happened, but she's lost. They found her phone. So it's like things happen in our lives, like this tragedy that seems to be unfolding in the Bahamas. And on the other end of the spectrum, drugs killing people in the streets. And your questions seem to put us in the middle of the spectrum to say, how can we make things better? How can we improve? How can we not be so careless or negligent and go someplace by ourselves to a strange, especially these days, traveling to a strange country, and not be really outlooking and conscious about your surroundings and so forth. And then on the other hand, having a community that's selling drugs, killing people, blah, blah, blah. So thank you, Naima, for these questions. I'm still thinking about what my answers are to your questions. So I'm looking forward to hearing from your guests. And I'm just tuned in today. I'm really tuned in. Thank you, sister.
Well, thank you so much for sharing all the wisdom that you share every week. We really are trying to get people to see how they're being misused, how their pain and suffering is being misused to make a profit. And I don't see any difference between the people who are selling drugs on the streets and people who are selling drugs in the pharmaceutical buildings. It's the same thing. They want repeat business. They need people to stay in pain so they can keep coming back and buying the drugs. So can you really criminalize people who have figured out how to make money, and they know that once people learn how to heal themselves, the money flow stops? So it's the same thing. Not wanting people to learn self-healing techniques so they can make a profit off of their pain. So I don't see how we can criminalize the street drug dealers and not criminalize the pharmaceutical industry, because it's the same thing. But I believe if we can do the things like what you do and the things that you teach and our other hosts, teaching people how to heal their pain from within, how to recognize when their suffering is self-induced, and to learn the techniques that will change their experience, then they won't be a sucker for the drug trafficking. And those who...
And that means teaching people, I think it means teaching more in the church, in schools, people how to meditate and go within. But that's where the answer is. When
that
people
really is.
spend time alone in nature, eyes closed, breathing, the answer will come because the Creator is here.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we come back with Alderman Moore and his statements. And hold on with us if you can, and I'm going to get your responses to what he has to say as we take a look at a city council representative who's taking his battle to the streets to try to stop the illegal drug trafficking that have made the children too afraid to come out and play. We'll be right back after this quick break. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
And we're back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and we have been live on location today with Alderman David Moore. He made a decision that he's going to camp out on the 1200 block of West 73rd Place until the drug trafficking stopped. And he also has challenged the police chief, the mayor's office, the Cook County Board President's office to come up with a game plan to make the problem go away for good. Not just put a Band-Aid on it, but truly remove the problem. So let's hear from Alderman David Moore as he explains why he's taking this radical step.
Now we're here with 17th Ward Alderman David Moore, who's committed to staying out here, camping out until there's a change. So, Alderman Moore, tell us, what is it that you need to hear from the Chicago Police Department, from the mayor's office, from wherever, that would make you end this vigil here on 73rd Place where there's high drug trafficking?
What I need is some type of letter or even a phone call would say, Alderman, we got a plan that when you leave that block, it will not go back to the way that it was. Meaning, you cannot, no one in a right mind can take over a whole city block where people cannot drive down the street. And so I just need a commitment of a strategy saying, we're committed to a strategy that when you leave this block, it would not go back that way. And that's all I'm looking for. And we can do that, because this is not rocket science. I'm not asking for something that's so complicated. This would not happen in Beverly. You cannot go over and take over a city block where it's a super highway, people taking over a whole street. And so I just need that to stop, and I need a commitment, whether that's from CPD, whether it's from the Cook County Sheriffs, the state police, or the federal government. All of them have a stake in this. All of them. The people pay their taxes everywhere. And so it's not just incumbent upon Chicago police. It's incumbent on the Cook County Sheriff. It's incumbent upon the state police. It's incumbent upon the federal government. And yes, it's incumbent upon the city of Chicago, as well as the Cook County Board of President. Everybody these are their representatives. And you can take over their streets? No. They deserve better than that.
Well, I'm noticing that there seems to be a limited number of street lights, which means there are going to be some dark spots. How easy is it to install a number of bright street lights on this street where there are so many dark patches so that there won't be these dark shadows for the wrong kind of activity to take place?
I have to be honest with you, because I never lie on the city. It's not a limited number of street lights. They got as many street lights as other people have. And CDOT is coming out, they're just brightening it up even more. We cut all the trees, and so where was some dark spots at, it was because some of the trees was covering some of the lights. Forestry came out and cut all of that. So last night it was bright out here, even without the light that they're bringing now. And the light that they're bringing now is extra light, so that people know that we're serious about turning this block around.
Well, I've seen some blocks where each house has a light post, which also helps to lighten up the block.
And
is that something residents can do?
And that's what individual block clubs. That's why block clubs are so important. And so when these block clubs come together, and then they spend money collectively and get a discount, and they put those poles in their yards, and they can brighten up the block even more. And so that's from the private side, not the city side.
Are there other things that the private citizens can do in this regard? Because, I mean, the drug trafficking happens because there is a market for it. So that means people are in whatever states of despair that make them choose to take drugs. Is there something that can be done?
And it's not always in despair, it's in fun. So we get rich people come up, drive up here. We get Asians, we get white people. black middle class people, everybody is buying through this super highway drug drive through. So it ain't people just strung out. We ain't gonna tell that narrative. We're gonna lie and tell that narrative. And this is a market. And yes, their cars should be towed. It's not just about the boys selling it. It's the people who buying. And so when they come down here, the police or somebody needs to stop them, confiscate and tow. Confiscate and tow. And so that's a strategy we can use too. So there's many things we can do.
Well, last question, since it's obviously a booming business, the drug sales, as you said, customers coming from everywhere, is there another product? Is there another industry? Is there something else that can employ the local people that would attract them away from the drug trafficking?
Yeah, I mean, if people want a job, we've been out here before. This is not our first, it's been over a 5-year period. And we've offered people jobs. And out of my 5 years, or out of my 9 years that I've been alderman and dealing with people, 3 people have took me up on it when they was out in these streets, and they off the streets. They work, but they gotta want to do it. There are opportunities out here, but you have to want to do it. There are opportunities out here, but you have to want to do it. And all this stuff, I ain't working for $18 an hour. Everybody gotta start somewhere. You don't, because you went to jail, get to make $50,000 a year because you went to jail. In life, you're gonna have to give up something free. Somebody gave up 4 years of their life to go to college. Hey, I had to pay for it. Somebody gave up 4 years of their life to go to the military. Somebody gave up maybe 2 years to go to a trade school. You're gonna have to give up something to get something. There's nothing in life is free. So we gotta stop all that coddling stuff. Stop all that BS about coddling and you gotta give them, or you gotta have them jobs. You gotta want it too. You have to want it as well. So I'm not gonna play them games. No, you gotta want it as well.
Okay. Well, it looks like there are a lot of people who maybe want to be entrepreneurs, but just have a product that is not in the best interest of the people. Do you think?
And this people can be, and I want people to
converted to entrepreneurship.
It's not always, and I want to be careful when I say this because I don't indulge any illegal activity. But my fight here ain't about just initially somebody selling something. You can't take over a street. I don't care if you were selling Kool-Aid. You can't freaking take over a whole street and sell Kool-Aid in the middle of the street. And people trying to get by, and you telling them to wait until you sell your Kool-Aid. Let me put this thing into perspective. It ain't just about what they selling, it's what they doing and how they're doing it.
How they sell it, yes.
It could be Kool-Aid. You don't need to take over a street to sell Kool-Aid.
So it's about respecting the residents and letting the traffic flow the way it's supposed to.
Absolutely.
And making it safe for children to come out and play.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Bottom line.
All right. Well, thank you, Alderman David Moore of the 17th Ward. And we're looking forward to somebody coming up with a plan so you can go back home and rest.
All right.
All right. Alderman David Moore taking it to the streets. Well, he made some points. So gonna bring back Viana in to give your thoughts. You know, he said something which a lot of people don't admit. People are coming from all over the city to buy drugs in this one location. And I don't know if I'm advertising for him now that I've said it, but he said they come from the north side, the west side, they're whites, they're Asians, Hispanics. So, I mean, this is big business. And we like to think these are old ghetto people, but these are folks with good jobs, so to speak, you know, folks that have money, they have means, they just want to get high. So what do you think about that? Do you think that there's a way to stop people from wanting to get high? What do you think, Viana?
As I said, meditate, not medicate.
Oh, I like that.
Interesting fact.
Wait a minute, let me write that down. Medicate and not medit. I like that slogan. Let me write that down so I don't forget it. Meditate, not medicate. I like that slogan.
Yeah, so it's such a big problem. For instance, the Ukraine war, people may not pay attention to that, but that's a lot of opium production going on in Ukraine.
Ooh.
A lot of the reasons we're at war is because of opium and drug production. Think about the war in Afghanistan. That was all about opium production. And so we've got such a huge system of elites and psychopaths, warmongers, military industrial companies working to keep the drugs flowing. So this Alderman, I'm so glad to see somebody with so much passion on that level, Naima. But I'm saying it's bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. And money talks. So, we've got to be more, I think, more aware of the bigger problems as well as the smaller problems. Because we are never going to heal the local problem if we don't start working somehow spiritually and politically to bring down the psychopaths, warmongering, greedy rich who are promoting the wars and the opium and drug production at a much higher level. Because they flood those drugs into these big cities, just like child trafficking. How do we get rid of child trafficking and all the ugly of that system and production? We got to get rid of people in our government who are being paid and who are promoting it. So it's so many levels to this, Naima. I honor and respect the brother, the alderman, for what he's doing, but at the same time, we can't lose sight of the bigger picture that's going on. And somehow we, on a spiritual level, have to work on that solution where it's being poured into the cities and our communities.
I totally agree. And I think
that's where meditation comes.
Right. Meditate, don't medicate. Yes, that maybe we need a whole international campaign with that slogan, because drugs is an international business. It's not local. This is an international business. And you're talking about the wars abroad. It really comes down to who's going to control the drug money. We're very naive in thinking it's all about freedom and all that. They sell us a bunch of garbage. Come on now. It's about who gonna get paid from this drug business. And we know the drug business also helps to fuel the gun sales business. So if we're the ones that are targeted to be the consumers of the drugs and the guns, then we're kept ignorant on how to heal our bodies so that we're not desiring the drugs. If we could just educate and meditate, then we won't have to medicate.
Yeah. Because we are a society influenced by material goods and money. When I look at all the advertisements, and Angela really brought this out well on her show on Thursday, how the advertisements that we see scrolling across our phones, even when we're looking at Facebook, they're all designed to trigger our desire for another material good. Oh, well, I need that. No, you don't. You don't need that. But we are so hypnotized and programmed, and that's a money issue as well, because if we have the extra money, well, I'm going to spend it on that because I want that. So it's so much reprogramming we have to do. That's why I'm glad to be on the Female Solution platform, where we are united in our goals for the solution that eliminates the violence, eliminates the drugs, or at least reduces all that. And each one of us has to play a part in our family and our community.
Absolutely.
So we really have our jobs cut out for us to make a difference in this huge picture of corruption, confusion, psychopaths, narcissism.
The whole 9 yards.
Every day.
Yes,
so it's like your questions that you posed the last hour are the ones we need to really think about, meditate on, and come up with a better solution.
Absolutely. And I'm really grateful, like what you mentioned, Angela's show. And of course, if you all missed any, just go back in the archives, because they're all in the Blog Talk archives. And of course, the day before show, you can get on the on-air radio network. And of course, if you need to go to the Facebook or YouTube channel of any of our hosts, just go to the Female Solution website. It lists all of our live streaming channels. So go to thefemalesolution.com if you missed a show. But we want you to see them all, because you're going to get some wisdom. especially when it comes to knowing how you're manipulated. Yes, this cell phone is a powerful tool, and it's also a means whereby, like we say all the time, people are on their cell phones and computers all day long, figuring out what to buy. So if you're always being sold something, you have to think, why am I buying this? Do I think that if I buy this, then people will treat me better? And if you're believing that, then why is your self-esteem connected to what other people think about you? And are you believing that you have to buy something in order for people to approve of you? And if you're believing that, where did that thought come from?
Let me give you an example, Naeem, of something in my household, my son's household. I saw this advertisement on Facebook for a titanium cutting board.
Ooh.
And they convinced me that the plastic cutting boards and the wood cutting boards that people are using are dangerous because the plastic, you're cutting into the plastic that's getting into your food and getting into your body. And then the wood, the bacteria is staying in the wood. And so I'm like, oh, I need that titanium cutting board. So I thought I had ordered it because I'm like, oh, yeah, my son has 4 plastic cutting boards he's been using. They all got cut marks in them. And I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, all that plastic getting into their body. But for some reason, I didn't order the titanium cutting board. I looked in his cabinet with all these huge plates in there that could easily be used as a cutting board.
Wow.
I mean, these nice plates that he doesn't use these plates every day. So you're not going to get any bacteria in these plates because they're stone, and you're not going to get any germs or anything, or you're not going to get any plastic in there. And I thought, darn, we could use a bigger plate. Hell, we got some tight.
I know. How simple is that? Yes.
We're so programmed to think, oh, our life can be better, we can be happier if we got this titanium cutting board. I'm like, and that thing was expensive too, and I'm so glad I didn't order it because we don't really need it. How about that?
And when they say something is on sale, it's only a sale if it's something you would have bought anyway. If you wouldn't have bought it, it's not a sale. Doesn't matter how cheap it is. If it's something you really don't need, it's not a sale. So how many times do we buy things that we don't need because they say 2 for 1? Well, I don't need one. So why I'm buying 2 of these because you tell me it's cheap. I mean, we get manipulated all the time. I mean, that's what the business of sales and marketing is all about. Marketing and promotions to make you believe you need to buy something that you really don't need, and to make you believe that if you get it, then people are going to treat you better. Your life is going to be better. You'll be more acceptable. I mean, all of these are manipulations. And I think this only came, well, I guess even before radio and television, people had written, posters and things like that. It was always about getting people to believe they needed to buy something. So that's the nature of the society that we live in. There's nothing wrong with having something that's a useful product or a service, but this has become to the point of exploitation, where people are spending money to compensate for not feeling good about themselves. That's what our economy is based on now. We grow up feeling defective, being told we're not enough, you don't look right, you got to fix your face, fix your hair, you got to fix yourself so that people will treat you kindly. And if you don't look right, you're going to be treated badly. And that message starts in our homes a lot of times with parents that make us feel like, well, you're too overweight or too underweight, or your nose is too big, or your lips are too big, or your skin is too dark, or your skin is too light, or whatever it is, your hair is too short, or your hair is too crinkly, whatever it is, you're not right. You need to fix yourself or we won't love you. That's the method. That's the message that children get. And so we're being programmed to think we got to spend some money to fix ourselves to be acceptable.
And here's the other thing, Naima. A lot of people aren't even spending money. They're just going into debt. It's that, I just thought about plastic, for instance. We talk about on my show, plastic is a low frequency. We need to stop wearing polyester and get into more high frequency clothing. But then I thought, so we are controlled by plastic clothing.
Ooh,
and then we're really controlled by plastic credit cards. People charging items they can't afford. I wonder how many people buying hair today. There's a lot of people buying hair. Are using a Christmas. You can't
stepping on
pay for
toes
that
now.
hair with your regular payment. So that's the area, a whole area that we need training on and discipline. Stop using the plastic, the clothing, the credit card. Let's just have a plastic seminar and be free.
Well, here it is, though. Now, once again, if you're told that you will not be loved unless you look a specific way, and if the society says, well, you need hair that's long in order for you to receive love from, a desired member of the opposite sex or whatever. And so if you don't know how to grow this naturally, or genetically you don't grow it naturally, or whatever, but someone's going to sell you hair and give you the idea that once you buy this hair, then you will be acceptable looking enough to receive love. How many women believe this? Well, just look at the hair shops. How many women are getting, and I'm not making fun of women who add hair. I've done it before, okay, it's a different style and all that, and it's nice. But if you choose to stop, can you? Now, I was watching a video by Viola Davis, and she was talking about the liberating feeling that she had when she took the wig off and decided to wear her natural hair. I believe she was accepting an award, and she was going to be on an award show with her natural hair. And it's like, oh, that's just not done. But it was such a liberating moment for her, a moment of self-acceptance, a moment of freedom where she didn't have to buy somebody else's hair in order to feel like she was worthy of being loved. That's a real addiction that a lot of women have. So, Beata, how do we put that message out there to love yourself as you are without it sounding like we're attacking women who choose to have their artificial hair in their head and it makes them feel better about themselves? How do we help them get to that point of self-love and self-acceptance, especially if the people that they think they're going to attract have given them the message that I will love you more if you have longer hair, even if it's not yours? What do you think we need to say to change those minds?
Well, unfortunately, women are suffering because of their choices to wear other people's hair. There's been a lot of information on the internet about cancer and uterine cancer and all these diseases that are showing up, not only because of hair straighteners, but because of the unhealthy hair that people are adding to their own hair. So, I think all we can do, especially the female solution, is offer our natural selves to the public and be very healthy and energetic and then set an example. And then offer information or advice. But then some women are suffering because they didn't want to listen and they didn't want to make the change and they didn't heal their low self-esteem. And so I'm learning we can't control anybody. We can't force anybody to do anything. But I think we have to just offer ourselves, our soul selves, to people as an example of what can be healthy, what can be inspiring and all that. And then people will ask questions, well, how can I be more like you? Or how can I change? But it's like, we're not changing anybody. We're not forcing anything. And we are doing that on the female solution. We're educating people and setting an example. And I think that's about all we can do. I have people in my family who are now waking up to changes because of what they're reading in the media. For example, there's the star who had a disease, and then they're coming out with a study that shows the microbiome is the solution for his disease. So we're seeing a lot more of it in the news, and so that's changing even my people in my family. When they see that, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't be going to the doctor so much.
You've been saying it for a long time. You've been saying it and they didn't listen, but now that they're hearing it someone else, okay, maybe that's true. Well, yeah, you've been saying it. But now, and sometimes that's what people need, validation. I don't know.
Yeah, my son sent me my son sent me an article about Parkinson's, and you remember the actor who played in Back to the Future?
Yes,
He had
yes.
Parkinson's. Now they're discovering that Parkinson's can be helped with changing the microbiome.
Well, you know what? Hold that thought for a second, because I want to really address that, because I really, really, really want us to help people who have that to get the healing that is available to them. I got to take one last break, and then we're going to come right back and deal with that natural way that people can get rid of Parkinson's. I know it's there, and I know that if we could just share it, we could see people's lives transform. So we're going to come right back in just one moment. So stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be right back. So just stay with us. And we're going to share some of the comments from some of our viewers on our Facebook and YouTube channel. And we will be right back.
We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Okay. Here.
And we are back for our last segment of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show here on this 5th Saturday of the month, in which we give you some on-location information. We've been talking to Alderman David Moore of the 17th Ward, who's camped out there. But the issue is more than just how do we arrest people who are selling drugs illegally. It's about a state of mind in which people don't like themselves and don't know how to heal themselves of emotional and physical pain. And we know that the physical pain is really a manifestation of the emotional pain. Those who've been listening to Louise Hay and reading those books and discovering how the vibration that we carry affects the cells in our body, we know that long-term stress, anger, guilt, shame, fear, all those negative emotions impact the cells in our bodies. And so we can reverse the process of the degeneration of the cells in our bodies if we follow a formula. So our Friday and Sunday host, Beata, has called in to give some wisdom and insight as we take a look at how do we repair our broken self-esteem? How do we undo the programming that tells us we need an outside substance to heal ourselves? How do we discover and use those remedies that are right here in our midst, hidden in plain sight? How do we do that? So, Viana, you were telling us about Parkinson's, and we have seen this discussion for quite a while, and yet no one seems to be able to come up with a cure that has been recognized by the medical industry. But what is the holistic community saying about Parkinson's?
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Oh, that's okay.
The article points out all the research that has been done in this area, and it's what the title of it was Parkinson's linked to gut bacteria suggest unexpected simple treatment. Well, they've been also doing fecal transplants for a while and seeing if the microbiome out of healthy colons helps unhealthy people if they could do a transplant to the unhealthy colon. And they did this in mice too. But this article, and it's from sciencealert.com if anybody wants to check it out. It's actually dated the 26th of June, so it's recent. And it said it identified gut microbes likely to be involved in linked with decreased riboflavin, vitamin B2, and biotin, pointing the way to an unexpectedly simple treatment that may help, B vitamin. And you know what I thought about, Naima? Yesterday, my guest was talking about all the deficiencies, the vitamin deficiencies, mineral deficiencies in children and people that contribute to disease. Well, this study is actually saying when your gut microbiome is strong, healthy, and diverse, it creates those vitamins. So to know what vitamin B12, 2, 3, 4, magnesium, all that, they don't even know what that is if they didn't already have in the body examples of these vitamins that, guess what, it appears are coming from your microbiome, your gut. So this is a huge study that we can look at to say the biggest, in my mind, the biggest way to heal anything is to strengthen your gut bacteria, have diverse bacteria and a large quantity of good bacteria, and don't destroy it with antibiotics and drugs. The drug thing, it's almost intentionally by the elite. They know these things, and telling people all these drugs, you're destroying your microbiome, which is the key to healing and strengthening the body.
You know, I pulled up this article on the screen. 7 celebrities with Parkinson's disease. And I'm sure, you know, these people have probably explored things that the current medical system is promoting. But we know that the holistic health community has had a real challenge in getting to the public because, hey, just like the drug business, you know, you're messing with somebody's money. And we know, you know, your show has had challenges trying to share truth so that people can get well. And it's you know, I don't, like I said, I don't see any difference with tourism on the street with the street drugs and the gangsterism with the pharmaceutical industry that won't let it be known that people can heal themselves if they are able to balance their bodies and restore the body to its normal balance. They don't need the outside drugs. But how a person is attacked when they try to share the wisdom that they've gained. We know Dr. Sebi, you know, died mysteriously and he was healing cancer, and they sued him for saying he healed cancer and all that because sickness is such big business. And I'm looking at Michael J. Fox. He, you know, well-known celebrity that has been battling Parkinson's for quite a while. And Linda Ronstadt, I didn't know about her. Muhammad Ali, of course, we do remember his battle with Parkinson's after having fought so many battles. So, you know, we're looking at people who are well known that I am sure if they, you know, before they expire, could get information, would be willing to share And yet the general society is not being allowed to know. Billy Graham didn't know about him. And Janet Reno didn't know about her. And of course, I just left Rainbow Push, where our dear friend Reverend Jesse Jackson struggling with Parkinson's. And I am sure that if his family could get access to information, they would be willing to try it. And he would be willing to champion the cause of holistic healing, because he's championed so many causes that are about reversing the inequities, the exploitation, the misuse of people. So I would most definitely love to empower our human family to overcome the effects of this extreme misuse of our illness and the criminalization of people who are selling drugs, when we got a whole industry of drug sellers that won't even allow people to know that they can get healed in ways that are natural and uninvasive. So we have a job to do. And of course, we're here on the Female Solution today, urging people to continue to follow our hosts. We're running here the advertisement on the on-air radio network, all of our daily hosts that you can tune into and gain some wisdom. There's really a need for us to change the thinking in today's time, and especially to change the thinking of people who've been conditioned over a lifetime to believe that doctors know best, and doctors have been conditioned to be drug sellers. So that's what they learn in medical school. And I know so many doctors who've had to leave the profession in order to go into holistic healing because the industry wouldn't allow them to share what they know. They wouldn't allow them to share what they knew about the whole mind, body, spirit connection, and how your thoughts are affecting the cells in your body. They weren't allowed to share their wisdom. And so they had to literally leave the industry in order to help people. That's what's happening today. So how do we is there a way to maybe get some test cases for illnesses like Parkinson's? Get some people to try some things and see if it works, and then get them to give a testimonial and say, well, look, I'm better, and then get families to say, oh, I see that this person is doing better. I mean, what do you recommend in terms of, and again, we got to do a disclaimer, we're not trying to get people to discount their regular physician or doctor, but knowing what you know, what would you say people could try diet-wise that would help them with the effects of Parkinson's? What would you
Well,
recommend?
you hit something, Naima. What if Jesse Jackson's family take a popular individual in our society who made this change or who tried something new? I wonder how much Jesse Jackson has been given, or what kind of treatment he's been given to help him overcome. Imagine if you shared this article even with his family and they started changing his diet. I don't know what they're doing now, but I bet they're not doing microbiome therapy. But imagine he would be such a great influence to get out of that wheelchair and tell everybody, look what's happened to me. Now, I have a feeling that would be different because he was promoting the jab in 4 years ago.
People only know what they know, I mean, it was hard because I was there. Matter of fact, we were reporting on it when they did it at Rosen Hospital and all that. I mean, that was a time when people thought that was the right thing to do, and they were sincerely trying to help. It's difficult because those of us that are tuned into a higher frequency, we got the message early. Oh, this is this is not for your best interest. It's to play on your fear of death and to get you to agree to an experimental procedure that's going to put something in your system. And so those of us who were trying to get that message out got shut down, which is an indication that we must have been telling the truth, because they never before had censorship the way they had it when it came to that jab. We know this. But knowledge can override ignorance if enough people are willing to take control of their lives and take control of their health, take control of their bodies in their own hands and do what helps them and override all the programming. It takes courage, but I believe we can do it because people are tired of being played and having illnesses strung out for year after year after year, just treating the symptoms, knowing that they could be healed, but the desire in the medical industry isn't to heal them, but to keep treating the symptoms of their illness. So I'm willing to certainly take that step and share that information, because I believe, like you say, a high visible figure that shows some major improvement, that can change everything.
And you've got today in 2024, you've got several states suing a major pharmaceutical company because of the program that they promoted 4 years ago. So this is going to wake a lot of people up. Unfortunately, these states, not Kansas City, but the state of Kansas alone, and all the other, I think there's 3 or 4 other states that have joined this lawsuit against Pfizer, I believe it is, who are going to bring the headline that all these people were injured. They wouldn't. I don't think they would be bringing this lawsuit if they didn't have enough evidence to present the wrong that was done by this pharmaceutical company. And why would a whole state? So that means the attorney general of the state has to bring this lawsuit forward. And then you've got right now 3 states joining them. And who knows how many other states? I would imagine Florida would join them, because our governor has been leading the voice about the harm these things could do. So it's going to be interesting, Naima. Just the lawsuits alone that might change people's viewpoint on whether to meditate or medicate. They're coming out with new prescriptions or new drugs for this new scare, this new fear they're trying to promote. And a lot of people are going to say, hell no, because of lawsuits, because of testimony, because of suffering, because of people who have died. So again, I think that's what's going to change people's minds and hearts, is when they see enough people dying and sick from a procedure that they said was safe and effective. So it's going to be up to us to represent the best health that we can to help people see so that they can make a better choice.
Well, this is what the issue is underlying all of this manipulation. People's fear of death. And this is what I saw in all of the shenanigans that happened. If you have been fed a philosophy that makes you believe your life is going to end, then anybody can manipulate you to make you take something to prevent your life from ending. But if you understand that there is no death, if you understand that you are an eternal being, and your body is made to continue to generate new cells so that you can stay here as long as you desire, no one can kill you. Even if they injure your body beyond repair, you still are alive. You just may go to another dimension in leaving your physical body, but no one can kill you. And this is what the one we know as Jesus, Yeshua ben Joseph, was demonstrating. You don't have to fear people, because no one can kill you. You are an eternal being. And this physical body, if you master your mind, you can even reproduce this body, or reproduce a body if you wish to maintain in this physical environment. but your life force energy is eternal. So you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to accept oppression. There is so much that we could learn if we were allowed to understand even the true teachings of the one that we've come to know as Jesus, Yeshua, who was teaching mastery of the mind, mastery of the physical environment, mastery of the emotions, and most of all, mastery of fear, because that's what causes people to accept mistreatment, their fear that someone's going to kill them. That's what was used to get people to agree to a procedure that was hurtful to them. And then the whole society was bombarded with repetitive reports of how many people died, how many people died, how many people died. And so that there was a hysteria raised, and I knew it, like many people got that spiritual message from the higher realms. They're trying to make people demand a shot. And that's exactly what they did. And so we were manipulated, and some people saw it clearly, but were muffled and not allowed to speak it. They had to move off Facebook, move off YouTube, come up with private sources of communication to share their knowledge. But those of us who know, we still know. And now we have to share what we know with those who are willing to overcome fear. And this is why I can't see criminalizing the street drug traffickers who are basically just following suit with the pharmaceutical industry and selling to people a substance that will help them deal with their emotional distress and help them deal with their physical pain, because they're choosing to medicate rather than meditate. But if they would just learn, they could heal their bodies without an outside substance. So I would love to be able to spread this message of healing to those who are buying the drugs, whether they're buying them from a drugstore or buying them from the corner pharmacist that doesn't have a license. It's the same issue. I don't know how to manage my emotional pain. I don't know how to manage my physical pain that came from my emotional pain. So because I was not taught how to meditate, I must medicate. I believe we can teach and change this condition. And I think that is the real solution to the problem, not just criminalizing and throwing people in jail because they're buying drugs, not criminalizing and throwing people in jail because they're selling drugs, because they're trying to make a living and they've learned how to do it in a way that pays their bills. So let's do something else. Let's remove the need for the drugs of any kind. So Beata, do you think that is a workable plan for those of us who have information to be able to share it with those who just don't know yet?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's what we are doing on the Female Solution, and I think individually, all the women, are determined to make a difference in this worldwide, this evil agenda that wants to reduce the population, that wants to get people addicted. If we recognize the forces against us and the evil out there that is against us, then we take action in a personal way. I think we can do this. The more people we can raise their consciousness and awareness about what's really going on globally as well as locally, then we just have to know that, as Yeshua said, if two or more are gathered in my name, which I believe is a spirit of truth that is working to bring more peace and harmony and love and joy, then it's going to happen. We're getting the help we need. More and more people are waking up, I believe, and it's because of the efforts by the Female Solution and others, voices of enlightenment, as you call them, that are doing what we're here to do. And we, as they say, we were born for such a time as this. I'm excited about being in this collective effort to bring more peace, joy, love, and health to the world, to the planet. So,
absolutely.
Thank you, Naima.
Well, thank you for all you do.
Today.
Absolutely. We got a few comments. Francis Harris said, good to know about this healing method, and we're going to share it with as many people as we can. And Dr. Ron Ford, who's got a Tuesday show online, says, we are a target in our community. Yes, we have been, and we must overcome that. And Dr. Ron Ford said, ever since the Black Panther Party. And that was also something that we should have learned from. When people organize to provide free breakfast programs, and then somehow the public was given a message that they were people to be feared and shot down, we got to be smarter than that now. We got to know when we're manipulated. We got to know when people are really doing something for our best interest, and stop allowing our beliefs to be twisted so that we don't dismiss people who are bringing health and well-being and go after people who are bringing death and destruction. So I'm all for, championing the cause of meditate, not medicate, and showing people how to alleviate their stress in natural ways so they can keep that money in their pocket and use it for developmental projects as opposed to self-destructive projects. And of course, there are many people all around the globe that are sharing wisdom, and we call them voices of enlightenment. You can reach them on the On Air network. On Air stands for Online Network of Associated Internet Radio Hosts, and you can reach it at onaireverywhere.com. Just go to the On Air Radio TV guide, and I'm pulling it up on the screen real quick before we go. People who are wisdom teachers from all over the planet. This is just a sample, but there are so many that are sharing wisdom online and giving you information that you don't always hear about. But these are people with regular programs, podcasts, YouTube channels, Facebook pages, people that are sharing wisdom on how to transcend, how to evolve, how to become. And so we want you to go to onaireverywhere.com and go to the On Air Radio TV guide. And all you have to do is just click on the picture, and it gives you insight of this person's TV show, radio broadcast, and some of these faces you recognize. Some have been on our shows, and some are going to be on our shows. But these are voices of enlightenment from all around the world, and we want you to gain from their wisdom. So thank you so much, Viana. We've got to go, and we will be right back here tomorrow for Soul Purpose Healing, right here on the Female Solution and Soul Purpose Healing Blog Talk channel. Until that time, we want you to continue to shine your light. We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, Dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, Ngiabonga. Senegal, Jaref. Kenya, Asante. Israel, Toda. Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you.
And may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.